Sometimes lights go on, lights go off, files fall off the counter.
Sometimes these dark spirits, they scare you guys. I mean, actually put fear into you.
Yeah, sometimes because we can't explain some of the stuff that happens.
Jessica, I want to get right into this. And you and I talked a little bit about this, but I'm just asking God to direct our conversation because you are very brave, my gal, for coming on and for saying some of the things that you said and that you're going to say. Okay, first question. Night shift spirits. You mentioned that especially on the night shift, strange things happen on hospital wards, in units. Can you be more specific on that?
Yeah, generally what happens is sometimes lights go on, lights go off, uh, files fall off the counter. We as healthcare, we just we take it for what it is. There's always random things that happen at night. Like I was mentioning to you before, like we could have a file on top of the counter and it's been there all night long and all of a sudden it just falls off. Or there'll be a light on in a patient's room when there's no patient in there. There'll be doors opening and closing when there's nobody present there. There's not
Wow.
even an air duct by there. Sometimes people can say, oh, maybe it was the air, they slammed the door, right?
Right.
So, in those cases, that's kind of what we know. We're familiar with all these random things that happen all the time.
Yeah. And Jessica, are these spirits? And if they're spirits, are they demonic? Are they angelic? I mean, do you have an opinion on that?
You know, everybody passes in the hospital, David. It depends on the soul, I believe. Like if we have John Doe, who is a heavy believer, right? Then we have a soul. We have an angelic soul. If we have, a John Smith or whatever who's not, their soul might be still wandering,
So,
So I think it just kind of depends on the different people that pass. I mean, it's hard to determine. We don't have negativity happen, so I'm not,
uh-huh.
so I can't really say that it's demonic.
Right, right, right. But I guess what I'm trying to get at here, and I have a reason for doing this. We're not just trying to have sensationalism or create some bad B horror movie. It's reality that in a hospital, strange events happen, and this has to be spiritual because it's supernatural. It's something you don't see. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is these strange happenings. Do you believe that it's a demonic presence that's actually trying to disrupt you guys? Is it scaring these nurses? Are these nurses believers? Are they trying to do something to you guys to kind of get you off kilter so maybe you'll mess up and get all freaked out? Or what's their purpose, you think?
I mean, that for sure can happen. We don't really recognize that portion, but we have second guessing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, we have, it's called practice for a reason. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we have trial and error.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that could be led by a spiritual presence,
Well,
then that could be.
right. You know, if you think about it, Jessica, because you're faith-based, you're a Christian,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. We haven't talked a lot about that, like but you told me you were a Christian. If you think about it, hospitals are kind of like a train station where spirits are coming and they're going.
Hmm.
Babies are being born, a train's pulling in, and people are dying. The train's leaving the station. It's kind of a Grand Central Station for souls, right? And
Hmm.
I'm just thinking this out, Jessica. This isn't something I've set and contemplated for a long time. But so if this is the case, this would make sense that there would be supernatural events, occurring. I mean, you've got spirits coming, spirits going constantly, and you're around that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you have someone in the hospital that's demonic, someone that has a negative, you call it negative energy, we call it negative energy, that they're just not a nice person, that maybe they don't believe in God, maybe they blaspheme, whatever you want to call it. Can
Hmm.
you actually walk into a patient's room who has a lot of darkness. Can you actually feel that darkness when you walk into a room?
I can, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And this is more than just you having an attitude towards someone that's not very nice, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that presence, that energy.
Right, the energy.
Hmm.
In the same light, you can walk into the room of someone who's faith-filled, someone who prays, they believe in God. And what does that feel like when you walk into a room?
It feels comforting. I went and saw a patient, and David, we ended up going over scriptures together. And he was a believer, and he wasn't a believer for the longest time. And I just remember I probably spent 30 minutes in his room, and we were just kind of going over scripture. And I'm working, and so those happen all the time.
Wow. Why do you think why do you think you can walk into a room and someone who believes in God, it's a comfortable feeling, as opposed to someone who doesn't believe in God? Maybe they're angry, why do you think you can walk into the room and feel that? I mean, it's not something that they said, it's something that you can't see. What is it that you can't see that you're feeling?
It's an over emotion. Like you sometimes can get goosebumps. Don't know
Really?
why. Yeah, don't know why. It's not chilly, but all of a sudden that patient just gave you goosebumps. That happens
Yeah.
to all of us all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you walked into a room where the temperature has dropped and it shouldn't be dropping?
Um, it's got I mean, I wouldn't say temperature-wise, but it just has a cold, like, cruel feeling to it.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you have, you might be in a movie called The Exorcist. Uh,
You know.
yeah. Uh, Everybody, if you guys are just tuning in, we're talking to Jessica. She's kind enough to share some very honest information. She's a healthcare worker, works in a hospital, works with people in a lot of times in ICU. And this is something that the church does not address. And sometimes we just haven't thought of hospitals as a train station for souls coming and going, babies being born, people dying. And if that's the case, wouldn't there be angelic spirits and demonic spirits in this area, in this hospital? And if that's the case, we as Christians, that's a good place we can come against demonic spirits. We can pray them out. We can understand there's angels walk in the halls. Do you believe, Jessica, there's actually both angels walking the halls in the hospital? I mean, angelic beings walking the halls?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen one before?
I've never seen, like, a silhouette of one, no. You have a presence of them.
Wow. Okay. How about demons walking in the halls? Have you experienced demons?
Well, when you think about it, if things happen supernaturally in the hospital, as which they do, and it scares us as healthcare practitioners and we kind of scream a little bit, like, I wouldn't think that that's an angelic spirit
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's meant to.
Right. And do these dark spirits, they scare you guys? I mean, actually put fear into you?
Yeah, sometimes because we can't explain some of the stuff that happens.
Yeah.
And so, and it's sometimes we're like, are we just overtired? Like,
Right.
are we
Yeah.
just overworked or
Right.
overtired?
In these last days, there will be perilous times. People will worship false gods, lying signs and wonders. Bibles will be taken out of schools. As the Antichrist arises, Christians will be persecuted. But now, God's people have awakened. David Heavener Investigates is proud to bring you End Times Investigations, a new DVD series containing over 8 hours of interviews, commentaries, and teaching on Illuminati and the New World Order, Satanism, miracles and healings, the Antichrist, and one world religion. David interviews some of the top experts in their field.
Hi, I'm David Heavener, and I'm proud to bring you this brand new DVD collection, End Times Investigations.
David reveals how the media is working hand in hand with the Antichrist system. Order now and receive this special DVD collection. Equip yourself and your family. Text BONUS to 41444 or davidhevner.tv/order. Call toll free 844-806-0006. Text BONUS to 41444 or davidhevner.tv/order. Call toll free 844-806-0006.